we head into a race, and something in the air just tells you this is not going to be a normal Sunday. That is exactly the vibe right now with Texas. There is a mix of pressure, unpredictability, and honestly, a little bit of chaos building under the surface. And here is the thing, it is not just one storyline. There are actually two major factors coming into this race that could completely flip everything we think we know about how this is going to play out. We are talking about drivers who look unbeatable on paper, but might not be as safe as they seem. And at the same time, there is something changing behind the scenes that could turn this entire race into a strategy battle we have not seen at Texas in a long time. If you have been watching NASCAR for a while, you already know this is exactly the kind of setup where surprises happen. So before we break it all down real quick, if you are a true NASCAR fan like me, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe. This channel is brand new. We are trying to hit 15,000 subscribers, and it is all about real talk from fans who live this sport every single week. Let's get into it, because the first big story heading into Texas is all about who is actually favored to win this thing, and whether that even matters. According to the odds, Denny Hamlin is coming in as the favorite for the worth 400, and honestly, that should not surprise anyone who has been watching this season closely. He is sitting at plus 400 driving that number 11 car, and he is a three-time winner at Texas. But here's where it gets interesting. None of those wins came in the next G era. And if you have followed this car at all, you know that matters a lot. Hamlin's recent record at Texas is kind of all over the place too. Two top fives in the last 5 races sounds solid, but you look closer and see 2 finishes of 31st or worse. That is the kind of inconsistency that makes you nervous if you are betting on him to deliver. Now, on 1.5-mile tracks this year, he has been fast. He already won at Las Vegas and led the most laps at Kansas, so the speed is there. The question is whether it all comes together when it counts. Right behind him in the odds is Tyler Reich at plus 550, and he is on a mission in 2026. He already won at Kansas, and not just any win. He passed Kyle Larson on the final lap to do it. That is the kind of move that shows confidence. Reich also has history at Texas. He won here in 2022, which was the first points race of the next G era at this track. Since then, his best finish is 4th in 2024. So he has been competitive, and he is going for his 6th win in the first 11 races of the season, which is an incredible pace. Then you have Kyle Larson at plus 650. And this is where things feel a little strange. We are talking about a 2-time and defending Cup Series champion who has not won since April 2025 at Kansas. That is a long time for a driver of that level. He has still been consistent with 3 top 5s and 6 top 10s this season. He finished 4th at Texas last year and won here in 2021, along with the All-Star race at this track. So, the question is whether this is the weekend he breaks through again. But if last year showed anything, it is that Texas can turn chaotic. There were 16 caution flags, which tied the record for this track. If that happens again, the favorites might not matter. That brings in drivers like Bubba Wallace at plus 800. He has 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s in the last 3 Texas races. In 2023, he started on pole, won stage 1, and led 111 laps before finishing 3rd. That shows he can control a race here. Also at plus 800 is Brad Keselowski. He finished 2nd here in 2024 and has 3 runner-up finishes Texas, but still no win. That is the kind of record that keeps building pressure. Then there is Austin Dillon at plus 10,000. He won here in 2020 and has finished top 10 in the last 2 Texas races. So if things get unpredictable, he could be a factor. The Worth 400 is scheduled for Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1 and the Performance Racing Network. Now, the second major story could change everything. NASCAR, along with Goodyear, is bringing a new tire setup to Texas. The goal is to increase tire wear. In recent years, Texas has been criticized for low tire wear, limited passing, and predictable races. This change is expected to create more lap time falloff, more variation in speed, and more strategic decisions. Teams will have to choose between pitting early for fresh tires or staying out longer and hoping for cautions. If the setup is wrong, tire pressures, balance, or camber, the performance drop could be severe after 15 to 20 laps. This kind of tire favors drivers who manage long runs well. That includes Larson, Hamlin, Reich, and also Ryan Blaney, who is strong in long-run situations. Drivers who depend on clean air and short-run speed may struggle if they get stuck in traffic. There is also uncertainty because Texas has an aging surface, multiple grooves, and changing grip conditions. Teams still do not fully know how the tires will behave deep into a run. During the race, the key things to watch are lap time fall off, passing during long runs, and pit strategy differences. If this works as intended, it could produce a much more dynamic race. And there is another detail. There are no major operational changes this weekend. The format remains the same with a single practice session, single lap qualifying, and the standard inspection process. That means execution becomes critical. Passing inspection without penalties, qualifying well, and performing on pit road will be decisive. Pit road mistakes, speeding penalties, slow stops, or bad timing can cost track position. Teams also have a limited tire allocation, which increases the importance of strategy. So this race is not just about speed, it is about precision. That is why this weekend feels unpredictable. There are strong favorites with question marks, underdogs with real chances, a tire change that affects strategy, and no margin for error. This is the kind of race where anything can happen, and for the championship, this could have a real impact as the season starts to take shape. I am expecting a race with strategy, unpredictability, and possibly a surprise winner. And honestly, my real opinion here as a fan is this feels like one of those weekends where the odds might not tell the full story. Yeah, Denny Hamlin being the favorite makes sense on paper, especially with how strong he has been on intermediate tracks this year, but I do not fully trust that pick at Texas. His inconsistency at this track in the next G era is real, and it has burned people before. He can dominate a run and then suddenly disappear, and that is not what you want in a race that could turn chaotic again. Now, Tyler Reich, to me, feels like the most dangerous guy coming into this weekend. The confidence he is carrying right now, especially after that Kansas win, is different. He is aggressive, but still smart with how he manages the car. And if this race turns into a tire management battle, he is right in that sweet spot. With Kyle Larson, this is where I am really watching closely because we all know what he is capable of, especially on high tire wear tracks. But that winless streak is starting to feel heavy. At some point, it becomes mental, not just performance. If this new tire actually increases fall off like expected, this could be exactly what he needs to bounce back. I also really like the sleeper potential of Bubba Wallace in this race. Texas has quietly been one of his better tracks, and people forget how dominant he looked there in 2023 before finishing third. If strategy plays out right and he stays up front, he can absolutely be in the mix late. Same thing with Brad Keselowski. He knows how to race this place, and those runner-up finishes are not luck, but at some point you start wondering if Texas just is not going to be his track to win at. Still, if execution becomes the deciding factor, he is one of the skies who can capitalize. And then there is Austin Dillon. I am not saying he is going to win, but in a race with tire strategy chaos and possible cautions, he is exactly the kind of driver that can sneak into a top 5 or even shock everyone if things fall his way. Now, the biggest thing for me is actually the tire change from Goodyear. If they really nailed this and we get real tire fall off, this race could look completely different from what we are used to at Texas. And honestly, that is what this track has needed for a long time. More fall off means more mistakes, more comers and goers, and more chances for drivers to actually make a difference instead of just riding in dirty air. But there is also a risk here. If the tire wear is too aggressive or unpredictable, it could turn into a mess where teams are just guessing all race long. So, my honest take is this. The race might not be decided by the fastest car. It might be decided by the smartest team and the driver who adapts the quickest. And that is what makes this one so exciting going into Sunday. Now, I want to hear from you. Who do you think wins at Texas? Drop your pick in the comments and let us talk about it. And if you enjoy real NASCAR conversation like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to NASCAR Nation Report. The channel is new and we are pushing toward 15,000 subscribers with fans who follow the sport every week. Get ready for Texas. This one is going to be intense.